No. Okay. Todd? So I have to speak into the microphone like that? Okay. Well, I'll try and do that and read at the same time. Okay. Right, can you hear me now? No? Okay, can you hear me now? Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, the first poem is called Flowers. Some men never think of it. You did. You'd come along and say you nearly brought me flowers, but something had gone wrong. The shop was closed, or you had doubts, the sort that minds like ours dream up incessantly. You thought I might not want your flowers. It made me smile and hug you then. Now I can only smile. But look, the flowers you nearly brought have lasted all this while. Then follow that with two very short love poems, both of them about poets. The first one is called Favourite. When they ask me, who's your favourite poet, I'd better not mention you, though you certainly are my favourite poet, and I like your poems too. The other one is called Another Unfortunate Choice. I think I am in love with A.E. Houseman, which puts me in a worse than usual fix. No woman ever stood a chance with Houseman, and he's been dead since 1936. And a little poem about love gone wrong. It's called Loss. The day he moved out was terrible. That evening, she went through hell. His absence wasn't a problem, but the corkscrew had gone as well. And those are old poems. This one is too new to be in a book yet. It's called 1952. Sometimes, instead of a fine, they give you safety pins. Can that be right? I'm sure it's what the teacher said. I know it was 1952 because the same teacher, a nun, announced one morning that the king had died. We were encouraged to go to the chapel to pray for his soul. A Catholic friend showed me what you do with the holy water. It was lovely in there, white, gold, pastels, as pretty as the scenery for the last act of a pantomime. It may have been the same day that I upset my mother by asking for a rosary. Soon after that, as we sat down in a theatre where I couldn't make a fuss, she told me it had been decided. Boarding school, next term. So I was sent off to boarding school when I was 7. I'm going to read you a couple of poems called Borders. Borders are better than day goals. We never questioned that belief. We were tough. We could survive without our mummies and our daddies, not like feeble day girls. Feeble was our worst insult. Secretly, I knew I was feeble and lived in fear of being teased. Teasing was our word for bullying. The bossy girls picked out the victims, sometimes turning on one of their own. Mostly it was verbal. Now and then a cry went up, "Chase for Trudy Tipple!" The girl took flight. The mob pursued its human quarry. I didn't join in. I like to think it wasn't just because I couldn't run. I wasn't teased much. The worst time was in my first year, because some older girls decided that I used too many long words. I soon learned not to. Look at how I write. I like motorway service areas, airports, motels. I used to keep very quiet about it because people think it's weird, and then I went to work with Alan Bottom, who likes those kinds of places too, and helped me understand why I like them, and also made me feel okay about it, because Alan Bottom likes them too, all right. Anyway, at the top of this poem, there's a quotation from one of his books. Places of transit where we are aware of a particular kind of alienating poetry. And the poem is called At Stafford Services. In the Wimpy Bar at Stafford Services, I ask for ketchup. The girl gives me a sachet. She seems nice, so I mention the red plastic tomatoes that used to be on every table in the old days. She has never heard of them. She thinks ketchup on the tables is a good idea. The red plastic tomatoes, the Formica tables, in the Wimpy Bar by Barnhurst Bus Depot, where I went aged 13 to smoke, drink coffee, and feel sophisticated. It was all so modern, so American, so young, and a safe haven from parents. 50 years on, I'm sitting in another one, drinking coffee and not smoking. As the light fades, the glass walls turn into mirrors, lending the place an air of glamour. I like it here. I could be in an Edward Hopper painting, a woman travelling alone on business. No one knows anything about me. Perhaps I'm a high-powered executive with a BMW outside in the car park. Or some kind of artist, a poet maybe, scribbling in her notebook. Dreams in a wimpy. I finish my coffee, find my keys, and walk out of the picture. The next one is called My Funeral. This is really about things that have annoyed me. Other people's funerals. I hope I can trust you, friends, not to use our relationship as an excuse for an unsolicited ego trip. I have seen enough of them at funerals, and they make me cross. At this one, though deceased, I aim to be the boss. If you are asked to talk about me for 5 minutes, please do not go on for 8. There is a strict timetable at the crematorium, and nobody wants to be late. If invited to read a poem, just read the bloody poem. If requested to sing a song, just sing it as suggested and don't say anything. Though I will not be there, glancing pointedly at my watch and fixing the speaker with a malevolent stare. Remember that this was how I always reacted when I felt that anybody's speech, sermon or poetry reading was becoming too protracted. Yes, I was impatient and intolerant and not always polite. And if there aren't many people at my funeral, it was certainly right. Next one is about the composer John Cage, the avant-garde composer, who's there was a centenary of his birth last year, and there were various celebrations of him. And I wrote this. It's called A Little Tribute to John Cage, and it has at the top a quotation from one of his books. Wherever we are, what we hear is mostly noise. When we ignore it, it disturbs us. When we listen to it, we find it fascinating. My computer humming while triangles dance on the screen. A blackbird singing, perched on the garden gate. The soft scratch of my pencil as I write these words. A trio for computer, blackbird, and pencil. One continuous sound, one random, one controlled by me. The pencil's part is almost over. When it stops, I'm just going to read one more little one. This is called Men Talking. I actually wrote this at a conference in the States when I found myself sitting at lunch on a round table with about 7 men. Men talking. Anecdotes and jokes. On and on and on. If you're with several blokes, it's anecdotes and jokes. If you were to die of boredom there and then, they'd notice by and by, if you were to die. But it could take a while. They're having so much fun. You neither speak nor smile. It could take a while. Thank you.